Oh, good evening. Good evening. How is everybody tonight? Hope you can hear me okay. Please give me a shout out if you can. Steel Rain Mike, good evening. Rezio, I guess, missing out tonight. No worries. Hope you guys are well. We've had a good weekend, week, whatever. I am going to have to nip away at some point during the stream, maybe just for like 2 minutes if my daughter wakes up to transfer from one bed to another, but that should be the only interruption tonight, hopefully. Cool. How is everyone getting on this week? I have really wanted to do more painting than I have managed to do this last week, but I guess having a brand new baby makes it near impossible. So finally going to get to do a little bit tonight. Robert is finishing up the last touches on his gladiator before moving on to transports. I want to get a gladiator, Robert. I really do. I don't know when I'm getting one, but I do want to have one. It seems a little sad to me that I don't have one. Right, I'm gonna have to try and. I'm not sure what brushes I have kicking around on this table, if there are any use. Most of these look pretty wrecked. There's some brushes behind me. How do these look? Are these all equally wrecked? I thought I had some Citadel ones. I should have been more prepared. You were not prepared. Oscar's building up an impulsor. Nice, Oscar. What are you transporting in your impulsor? That is the $1 million question, isn't it? Might use this Element Games one. Give me 1 second. I think I got brushes just off screen here. Alright, I'm gonna try this. Evening, Angelo, how you doing? Robin, hey, up late? Not really, this is just 10 o'clock here in the UK, so not up too late. I was gonna either look for Dawnstone, this is one of the ones I always end up using, and or I feel like this isn't all my paints. Where's my brown? I definitely feel like this is not all my paints. Howdy DTM, good evening. You know, the other night when I was streaming, when I was kind of intoxicated, I came into my room the following morning and the place was like an absolute, it's like an absolute bomb site. This is very unprofessional. I'm gonna have to step off for 1 more second. They must be in the drawer. Indeed they are. Okay. Some of the paints got away from me when I was drunk, apparently. I'll be transporting 3 to 5 Blade Guard vets and a Death Company Reaver Lieutenant. So you can buff some Death Company further down the board. Do you know what? That's interesting. I've never heard anyone run a Death Company Reaver Lieutenant before. So you're gonna have to let me know how you get on with that. John drops paint brushes and pick up whiskey. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened in the last stream, wasn't it? Mike's building 2 Vindicators. Cool. I'm working on incursors. I'm going to start with some incursors, then I'm probably going to jump over and do a little bit of Sanguinary Guard, and then I also have a don't spill the paint. Well, that was close. Also have this Calixus Assassin that I want to put a little bit of colour on, just so that she could basically be fielded in games and not look like just a pitch black model. I'm wanting to keep 3 characters on my list because I like how difficult that makes it to pick Assassinate against. So I was thinking of going Chapter Master, Tech Marine, and Calixus Assassin. I don't know if it'll be good, but I want to try it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Good evening, Lex-handed Texan. How are you? Good evening. Hoping to see Blood Angels Commander paint Girlyman to eventually use him on the super heavy tank. I don't own Girlyman or Rabute Gilliman. Will I own him one day? Probably. But I got more pressing things to paint, I feel like, than Rabute at the moment. So I just inventoried my entire Templar army. Guess how many points I have. I mean, did you collect Templars back in the day? And you just sort of returned to them for their new Codex and stuff? I don't know, 12,000 points? 15,000 points? I think I have about 15 or 20,000 of Blood Angels. It's been a long time. It's been probably over a year since I inventoried what I have. A Calixus, Angry Thousand Sun shaking the fist. Yeah, I mean, the Calixus is interesting, right? In that, like, as the armies that I struggled with, or the armies that I've struggled with the most recently in tournament play, have been Thousand Suns and Grey Knights. So a Calixus would mean dropping my Librarian, but I mean, it gives me some anti-psyker, I guess. So hope. I mean, I did that video this week about the units that units you need to avoid, right? And I guess a lot of people watched it. A lot of people liked it. I wasn't sure if people would like this week's video, honestly. But it seems like people did. So I mean, we could definitely do a second video on units to avoid. But I think the interesting thing for me was, or maybe not just for me, but I think the interesting thing with units to avoid will be, like, do you think chapter approved are going to fix any of these problems? Because I feel like there's a very high chance that chapter approved will not fix the problems, because last year's chapter approved didn't really hit the point for me. Did anyone enjoy last year's chapter approved? That was anticlimactical. I thought you much more. 5,000 points. So I'm sorry. You made it sound like it was going to be horrific or horrendous. 5,000 points is still a good army, man. I wouldn't be upset with 5,000 points. I mean, no one I know plays games bigger than 2,000 points these days. So I mean, 5,000 points gives you a lot of flexibility in building a 2K list, right? Oh, you've been collecting since October. Then that's a serious collection. Good evening, Nucking. How you doing? Hope you're well. And yeah, thanks to everybody that watched this week's video. You know, I see on YouTube, like, my analytics and stuff, and you know, sometimes you can spend a lot of time working on a video and nobody watches it, and it can be a little bit depressing. So yeah, this week's video was really, really cool. In fact, I think Friday, yeah, so yesterday was my best day ever on YouTube since the beginning of the channel in terms of, like, raw video views. So that's a really cool milestone, because sometimes I can be a bit worried about the channel, like it could be, I could feel like I'm not making the right videos and stuff. So everybody watching yesterday's video is appreciated. Thoughts on a Jump Pack Chaplain? Worth it or more fun games at this point? I mean, a Jump Pack Chaplain is competitive for sure. I don't typically run a Jump Pack Chaplain because I like my characters to be as survivable as they can, so I run, I've been running the Chaplain on the bike and the Captain on the bike because the extra wound and extra toughness I really like. But I mean, a lot of people run Jump Pack Chaplains. In fact, Sam, who just won a GT ran Astaroth, who is basically a jump pack chaplain, right? I mean, he's a slightly custom one, but jump pack chaplain is totally it's a viable competitive choice. I guess you just need to play it and know its strengths and weaknesses, because I wouldn't have said before I'd seen Sam's list that Astaroth was a viable competitive choice, but you know, he won a GT out of like 33 people, was it, with Astaroth in his list? So if you have a plan and you're going to stick with it, go for it. I missed DTM's comment. Grey Knights are just strong because Dread Knights are very undercosted. I'd 100% them to go up in either chapter approved 2022 or a balanced data sheet. Yeah, I mean, I guess Grey Knights. I think Dread Knights, if they had a 5 up in fun save, they'd probably be balanced at the current cost. But I think the 4 up in fun save just kind of just pushes them onto the end of like a little bit too powerful. But I guess we'll see. I was really disappointed with last year's chapter approved. I really thought before it came out that Sanguinary Guard would go down in points. Not much, maybe like 2 points per model. In fact, they went up 2 points per model. What about GW's quarterly thing? I mean, the quarterly thing is more about large scale rule changes, right? Or balance for like specifically really overpowered or broken stuff. I don't think the quarterly update is going to necessarily like tweak a points cost of a unit that you think is not good, right? So it's good that they are doing a quarterly update, I guess, but it's maybe not quite what you... I mean, I just think chapter approved is a long time to wait, actually. Like a year between points cost changes, especially when, like, I don't know if some of the changes felt needed or felt right, maybe, is how I felt about last year's. So this year for chapter approved, I'm going to go in with no expectations because Blood Angels got shat on last year. And yeah, maybe part of it is that I only play Blood Angels and I was bitter that... So it's hard to be objective when you only play one army, I think. Because I'm always going to want better things for my army. But yeah, I think a lot of people last year felt like the Blood Angels got a tough deal. I started playing about 40k 1 year ago and I've maybe 2.5k points, says Nucking. I mean, that's not bad for a year. It takes me a year to paint 2,000 points of models, I think, because usually like maybe I can paint like a squad a month and a squad's usually like 200 points. I've always been kind of slower at painting, but ever since I had like, you know, I had one child and now I've got 2 children, I really don't get a chance to paint except when I'm on stream. So at the moment, it probably actually taken me more like a year to paint 1,000 points. I mean, I can get them battle ready pretty quickly, but like a finished standard where I'm going to go and varnish them and be like, those guys are totally done, I'm totally happy with them, that's going to take me a long time. So 2,500 points a year isn't bad, dude. Even Highland Phoenix, how you doing? Spiderwing says hello. How you doing? Any word on the package I sent you? It was delivered. It says it was delivered yesterday. Yes, because I give you my work address. So it will probably be there for me when I get to work on Monday morning. We've just moved house here, and the house we've moved to is so new that Google Maps doesn't have it, and what's happening is like a bunch of our post is going to a similar address. It's like the street name is very similar, so like I'm just ordering things to my work address at the moment. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be there, Steel Rain. I will message you on Monday and double check, but no, I really appreciate you sending that. Thank you. If it says it's been delivered, I'm 100% confident it would have been delivered, because there would have been somebody in the office on Friday and they would have picked it up for sure. Just I haven't been in the office yet. I'm not back to work officially till Monday. I should say I only have 1,000. You know, painting's kind of subjective, you know, like if you just want to slap 3 colors on a unit, so like a yellow helmet, red armor, and a black bolt gun, and then base them, that's totally valid for competitive. So, you know, if you stick with the hobby and you do some painting every week, you'll get there. I mean, that's how I remember when I was just starting, and it felt very daunting just to have so much plastic to do and just be like nowhere with it. But you know, you stick with the hobby for a couple of years, you'll have a lot of painted stuff, as long as you stick to some sort of regular painting schedule. I've actually been looking forward to Saturday night like for a few days now, just because I really wanted to do some painting. I felt I did some painting on New Year's. I was actually painting these guys on New Year's, but like I think I did more drinking on New Year's than painting, which was fine. But like the next day I looked at the stream and I was like, oh my god, I streamed for 4.5 hours. I must have done loads of painting. But no, I barely had any progress to show for it, right? I was hoping I would have a lot of progress to show for it. Turned out not that much. We haven't had we have unit rules that are terribly written and can be quickly and easily fixed. Yeah, I mean, a campaign supplement with some Blood Angel stuff, and it would be cool, wouldn't it? Tyranid's got that campaign supplement, and it sounds like they are a lot better than they were now. Sounds like you can give almost like the whole of your Tyranid army a 5+ in fun save, and I think you can give like the whole army -1 damage, or a bunch of units -1 damage as well. I haven't looked into it too heavily because I've not fought against it yet, but I know that Chris Chance messaged me saying that he played against it and he got rocked, and I think he was running like a double Contemptor. This is why I'm going to be upset if the double Contemptor gets nerfed, because Blood Angels actually don't have that many powerful things, and the double Contemptor is something that's probably keeping us reasonably decently competitive. So if that goes up 80 points like the rumor says, I've already been thinking about it, already been building other lists. I mean, if it goes up 80 points like the rumor says, that's more than a Leviathan Dreadnought costs. Like, are we really going to see Contemptor Dreadnoughts with 2 Volkite cannons cost more than a Leviathan? I mean, at that point, I'd instantly drop them and take a Leviathan, I guess. Good evening, 2 Scoops. How you doing? Less sleep for me. Yeah, I mean, it's we've actually been sleeping okay. The issue with having 2 babies is like it feels like you're constantly changing nappies, and you know, when you've got a baby that's like a week old, they kind of need held all the time. Whenever you put them down, they just cry. So I have been sat for way too long in front of the television. I said to my wife, I'm actually kind of happy to be going back to work because, you know, I'm not bored of not being at work, I guess, but I am bored of just sitting in front of the television watching a baby, right? Blood Angels players aren't the only happy one. Custodes players don't seem super stoked about their new decks, and have laundry list of complaints about the latest Thousand Suns book. Do you know what? I thought this Thousand Suns book was actually really strong. I played a Thousand Sun army one time off stream, and I got completely wrecked by it. Like, I don't know how. I honestly don't know how you beat that Thousand Sun army still. Like, I thought their new book actually was very, very, very strong. I mean, Custodes Codex looks like it's balanced from the early indications that I've heard, and that's a good thing, because we've had so many unbalanced codexes in the last few months. It'd be nice to have some codexes coming in that feel balanced, because that's how all the new books should come in, right? They should all feel balanced. You shouldn't be in a position where every time a new army or a new book comes out, people want to jump on that new army because it's just stronger than everybody else. It's really unhealthy. Or at least I feel it's really unhealthy. How afraid am I of the new Tau railguns? I mean, I already find Tau a difficult matchup for Blood Angels because the greater good rule can really mess with us. You know, like we have to do a lot of our damage in close combat, and if they position their units to potentially greater good with multiple units, it can really impact. Yeah, I find Tau a difficult matchup. So Tau getting more buffs to their shooting is going to be rough, I guess. I guess we'll see. It'd be hard to know until we've played against it, but yeah, I think Tau are a difficult matchup for Blood Angels, just because if the Tau player is experienced and he's getting them the models in the right position and he's able to do a lot of like greater goods, you know, you can lose a lot to the Tau gun line. Back to Redemptors. Do you have other armies? Have you ever been tempted? I actually have 1,000 Suns. I've got a squad of Rubik Marines. I've got a squad of Zangors, and then behind me I have I think it's just here. Yeah, look. Got some shit on the floor. I've got Rubiks. I've got a Demon Prince. And I've got one of those flight boxes. You know, the web store exclusive boxes. And these boxes, this is a Slaughter Brute. But, I mean, it's a Slaughter Brute on a sprue. So, I mean, I got some stuff for 1,000 Suns, probably like the making of, I don't know, a couple of squads of Rubiks is probably 200 points, a squad of Sangors 150, the Demon Prince another 100. So probably like 500-600 points of 1,000 Suns, but like I haven't had a chance to start them, and I honestly don't know when I'm getting a chance to start them. I have far too many Blood Angel stuff to do, just far too many. Yeah. More incursors. Yeah, I actually have another squad of incursors that. So I was thinking about this. I was thinking about changing my army to run 3 squads of incursors. I really was thinking 3 squads of incursors was the way forward. But when I was building some new lists where I cut out my relic contemptors, I felt like I was struggling to fit in 3 squads of incursors, so I may stick with 2 squads of incursors and a squad of assault intercessors. Against most enemy players, I've enjoyed having a squad of assault intercessors in Deep Strike for a couple of reasons. Because a squad of assault intercessors in Deep Strike will do 2 things for you, right? It'll score you Retrieve Octavius data like super easily, and or you bring them in for a charge onto an enemy objective and they're OBSEC. So it's like they got 2 pretty good purposes, a squad of assault intercessors in reserve. So yeah, I've enjoyed playing the assault intercessors in reserve, and I was honestly thinking because I was struggling to find 10 points for that 3rd squad of incursors, I was like, do you know what, maybe we're just going to stick with 2 squads of incursors and a squad of assault intercessors. I mean, it worked for me that tournament pretty well. I mean, the fact that I lost 1 game is my own stupid fault. I'm just getting back into the hobby for the first time since 3rd edition. Love your channel, John. Your community seems awesome. Oh, welcome to Scoots. When I came back and made this channel, I was actually out of the hobby since 5th edition, so I quit in the middle of 5th, and I didn't play at all in 6th and 7th, and I came back at the start of 8th, and I think I started this channel around either the end of 8th or the start of 9th. I think it must have been the start of 9th. So yeah, welcome back. It's you know, it's an easy hobby to get out of, but it's definitely a fun one to get back into. So, you know, thanks for joining and thanks for being part of the community. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you consider subscribing. Do you know what? Let me put up my alerts. There we go. Science Dad, Werty, yep. Crusher Stampede is only for Crusade play, right? I don't know. I think it's for competitive play, but I haven't been paying too much attention to Turnids, but it sounded like it was a competitive game. I don't think it was a Crusade game he played, because I don't think I've ever seen Chris Chance mention Crusade. He always mentions, like, he goes to a lot of tournaments, he always talks competitive play. While not the buff that they wanted, Custode seemed really fun to play and it's balanced. That's what I'm looking for, man. I'm wanting future codexes to feel balanced. Codexes can feel strong. They can feel balanced and they can feel strong, but what I'm not wanting to see is the stupid masses that we had, like with Orc Codex, where like you come up against an army where it's just like 20 Orc buggies, 10, there's like 9 rocket trucks and 9 scrapjets. Like, that shit is just stupid. And I'm really proud to say that I never lost. I played those Orc armies like 5 or 6 times on stream and I never lost against them, but like, what a headache fighting that stuff is. Like, it's just broken. So I'm happy to hear that Custode sounds strong but balanced, or just balanced, I guess. I wish that if they could start doing that for all the codexes, strong but balanced, that would be nice. That's like the dream. And honestly, that's my biggest complaint with the current edition of the current edition of Warhammer, is that new stuff does not feel balanced, and I don't like to complain. Like, I want to make this channel a positive channel where we have fun and we talk about things, and like, I never want to have like a video where it's just like feels really bitchy. But yeah, Spiderwing just coming in with the membership. Thank you so much, brother. I've seen you around for a while. You can. I thought you were a member already. We've got quite a few members, I guess, on the channel, but I appreciate the membership. If you want to, what you do is, once you become a member in Discord, go into your settings on your Discord account and link your YouTube account to your Discord. So I think you go to settings, you click like, I don't remember exactly, but if you can't figure it out, DM me on Discord and I'll tell you, or someone in chat will nicely tell you. You go into Discord, you link your Discord account to your YouTube account, and then you get access to the members only room, which is where I guess I spend most of my time on Discord. So I mean, I do try and respond in all the channels, but I definitely prioritize the members only room. So thank you so much for becoming a member, and make sure you get that Discord set up. Tactical squads with heavy bolters. Tactical squads are okay. If tactical squads could drop like 2 points per model, I'd be much more on board with them. I just think they're very expensive. Grav cannons as well are okay. How about points to give Assault Intercessor Sergeant a Thunderhammer? I mean, if I can't fit in the if I can't fit in the 10 points for Incursors, I certainly can't fit in the is it 20 points for a Thunderhammer on Assault Intercessor, or is it 15? I forget. None of my Assault, and I don't have any Assault Intercessor models with anything other than bolters and chainswords. I have a bunch from Indomitus that I could convert, I've just never got around to it. An Asylum coming in with a membership as well. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate that. Same thing goes, make sure you link up your Discord. Hey Daddy, Gamble, how are you? The Templar Codex is one of the most balanced codex I've seen in a while. I heard the Templar Codex was very strong because you can give like your whole army a 5-up invuln, right? Or how exactly do you do it? I haven't fought Black Templar since the new codex came out. I should probably do more prep on the other armies. I was thinking about doing more videos on other armies, or like videos on like how to defeat certain armies, because I did a video on how to defeat Death Guard like a few months ago. I could probably do a video on like how to defeat Sisters fairly easily. I could maybe do a video on how to defeat Necrons and Orcs, but then there's a few armies that definitely I don't have in my current meta, so I don't play enough against. And yeah, Black Templars is certainly one of them, you know. But yeah, I do fancy trying out the Calixtus, yeah, the Calixtus Assassin, that's what this guy's called. I had to think twice for a second there. Give him a trial run against like a psychic army and see how it goes. I suppose the nice thing about having an assassin is at a tournament you could actually pay 2 CP before the battle starts to change him out, which keeps your opponent guessing a little bit, right? New Custode book looks good to me, says Asylum. Excited to get them back off the shelves. I was worried it'd be too complicated, but some I mean, yeah, like Admech's Codex is crazy complicated. That's something that I actually don't like in tournaments as well. You know, like when I was playing against Admech in the tournament, like it's one thing to know your army and know everything it can do, but if you're up against like an army like Admech who have like 1 million rules, it's another thing to know all 1 million rules for that other army as well, and be able to, I guess, be able to know how to fight and how to counter them, right? I'm not sure if it's an army-wide 5++ and a mini transhuman is really balanced compared to what things Raven Guard get. Yeah, once they're transhuman, it's like they can't be wounded on 1s and 2s, right? Yeah, I mean, that seems borderline. You know, like I said, strong but balanced. I guess that certainly feels strong. Balanced? Maybe? Certainly strong. I'm sat here sculpting up some Blood Quest characters. What is Blood Quest? Oh, we're getting all the memberships tonight. Alright, awesome guys, thank you so much. Welcome, Ducking, thank you. It's cheaper than I thought. Oh, the membership is cheaper than you thought. Well, there's a few things you get with membership. There's a few Google Drive links and stuff like that, but if there's anything you guys need, is like, my channel is too small to really make any money from YouTube ads. Yeah, that's right, YouTube ads. So basically what I just try and do is make videos that my subscribers want, or in this case even more so what my members want. So if there's a video you want to see, if there's something you want that you're struggling with to fight against, then, you know, just drop me a message in that Discord members room and we'll make the video. That's what I do, I guess. Tezab says, hey Blood Angels Commander, tried out Death Company in your games recently. I know a couple of months ago you thought about giving them a try. I haven't played Death Company in 6 months, probably. If I was gonna run Death Company, I'd probably run the 10-man, and I think I'd probably go for like the 10-man and the Forlorn Fury approach. Maybe have like 3 or 4 Thunderhammers in there. But no, I've not run the Death Company. I guess it's one of those things where I just always end up finding something that I think is stronger than Death Company. And I've just recently started running 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard. Because I was running Sanguinary Guard and Blade Guard and Terminators, and then I've moved to Sanguinary Guard ×2 and then the Blade Guard. I think I kind of want to keep think I want to keep my Blade Guard. Like, the Blade Guard are a strange unit because they often don't kill as much as you'd expect them to kill, but they always take up like a lot of the enemy firepower, or a lot of enemies, you know, they spend a lot of time focusing down or dealing with the Blade Guard, and sometimes they make a lot of space on the board while not doing that much work themselves. They're a strange unit. In some ways they're a bit like when I used to run Centurions, and the Centurions themselves never always did that much, but like what they did do is they absorbed a ton of enemy firepower, because, you know, most enemies can't deal with a bunch of Centurions in their face, right? But no, I've not run Death Company. I'm not sure if I'm not sure when my next GT is, honestly. So I might have time to run some Death Company for fun, I guess. If I don't, like, because normally what the pressure is like I'm trying to work out a GT list, or I'm trying to work out my tournament list, and as such, like, when you're trying to work out a tournament list, you kind of already got an idea of sort of what you want to be doing, and then you're like, yeah, if this doesn't feel strong, or if it doesn't fit with your like ideas for that list, then it can get dropped. And I guess that's what happened to the Death Company for me. It does make winning tournaments a lot harder if you're not played against the armies. Yeah, it makes them 100% harder, doesn't it? Because you just don't know what you're going to run into. So I've only been at two. I've only played 2 tournaments since I came back. I played 1 Kill Team tournament and 2 40k tournaments. And in both tournaments I went 4 wins, 1 loss. But I think that, like, if I can continue that maybe through like 1 or 2 more tournaments, like another, and that second tournament I got to the top table, so I was one of only 2 players to win 4 games and lose 0 games at that tournament. So I think with tournaments you definitely have to commit to doing some where you know you're not going to win. And my god, I really wanted to win that last one. But yeah, I mean, it was probably ambitious to think that I could win my second tournament back. So yeah, with so many armies to know and fight against, and the positives I wanted to take away from that tournament was, like, I know how to beat Dukari now. I've faced them a good few times. I know how to beat Admech now. I know how to beat Speedwad Gorks. These are all like crazy hard things to beat with Blood Angels as it stands. And I also beat like this insane Tempest Scion list. Like, you would, like, Auspex Tactics did a video on this Tempest Scion list, and it was insane. It was a really interesting list, but yeah, I mean, it finished second at the GT. I was really pleased to beat it, but like, wow, it was a tough list to handle, I guess. Oh, Blood Quest is the graphic novel from back in the day. I actually have the re-release of Blood Quest, Volume 1 and Volume 2, Daga. Good evening, sellers. How you doing? And welcome aboard. Yeah, thank you so much to the new members tonight. It's super appreciated. And like I said, if any existing or new members need a video on anything, you can just drop me a message, and I may not be able to make it in the most timely manner if I'm already in the middle of making like another video for a certain week, but you know, I have a list and I just add video requests to it. So I got the re-releases of Blood Quest, both Volume 1 and Volume 2. I've been off work for 5 weeks, and I've been sat with a baby on my lap. I should have probably read one of those. I wish you'd said that message 5 weeks ago, and I would have probably read the first volume. Unfortunately, I've read none of them, and tomorrow is my last day before we go back to work. But cool, yeah, let's see your pictures of your Blood Quest, guys. You should run 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, Steel Rain. I don't have enough models. Steel Rain, I have a lot of Sanguinary Guard, yes, but a bunch of them are with really bad weapon options, like plasma pistols and... Let me think. Plasma pistols and power fists, and yeah, I mean, I am painting up 5 more here that are just your standard like axes and swords and bolters, which I think is the best way to run Sanguinary Guard. So when I do this, I'll have 15 in that loadout. Maybe I need to get more Steel Rain. But I mean, with the baby and stuff, I'm struggling to find any time to do painting. So this will have to do for now. So I could run more Sanguinary Guard, but they would have there'd be a few that don't have very optimized loadouts, I guess. Which I don't really fancy running them that way. But I mean, you know, 6 months ago, I suppose I could run 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard and a large squad of Vanguard veterans, because I think I've got a shitload of Vanguard veterans with storm shields and lightning claws and hammers and all sorts of loadouts done now. You know, so I've got that option as well, I suppose. Someone asked, how easy is it to paint Sanguinary Guard wings when they're already attached? Well, the answer is you end up doing what I'm doing right now, and you have to paint gold on all the bits that got the wing color. You gotta repaint the gold. What's the best loadout for a Battle Predator? I know it isn't the best unit in the game, but I got one for Christmas and I want to get some use out of it. There's a lot of questions. I'm miles behind on the chat. The Battle Predator, I mean, I did a video like a week ago, 2 weeks ago on the Battle Predator, and the loadout that seemed the most points effective, I think, was like the assault cannon with the heavy bolter sponsons seemed like the best way to run the Battle Predator, because the problem with the flamers is you can't really advance because the flamers, the Ballstorm cannon, or I can't remember, the Flamestorm cannon, I want to call it the Ballstorm cannon. The Flamestorm cannon is heavy and the flamers are heavy, so if you advance the tank, you end up not being able to shoot any of the guns. So I think if I was going to run a Battle Predator, I think it needs to be the twin assault cannon and the twin heavy bolters. But I mean, if you search my channel for Battle Predator video, like I did a pretty comprehensive video on Battle Predators like just maybe 2 weeks ago, Spiderwing, so you could check that out. It's only like 10 minutes long, you know, watch it after this one or something, that'd be cool. CJ says that he hasn't been here for a while. He's painting some Flesh Terror Battle Predators while I watch. Well, CJ, if you're painting the Battle Predators, how did you end up arming yours? And Highland Phoenix says, thoughts on the Impulsor as the transport for the Blade Guard veterans. So I've run the Impulsor now for the Blade Guard veterans, what, in like 3 games, I think? And again, it's probably a little bit similar to my idea with like the Centurions and stuff, right? Like the Impulsor hasn't done anything in all the games. Oh, I mean, in one game it charged a knight and stopped the knight overwatching the Sanguinary Guard, so that was good. But in the other 2 games, the Impulsor really hasn't done much at all. But I guess, what does the Impulsor bring to the table? Well, I guess it means in turn 1 and 2, your Blade Guard are just usually pretty darn healthy and usually very easy to get to center board, which alone could be worth 100 points, right? It's a funny one, right? Because if you think about Blade Guard, 175 points for 5 of them. And then if you think of Sanguinary Guard, 5 of them are going to be like 165 if you put, like, let's say 1 Infernal Pistol in. So the Blade Guard have a better invulnerable save, obviously. They have 1 more wound across the squad. So 10 points more, you're basically getting like a 4-up invulnerable save and 50% more survivability because you get 5 more wounds and access to like transhuman and shit like that. I mean, I think this is why I keep running the Blade Guard, right? Because of those points that I've just made. But yeah, they are slow. That is the biggest problem with the Blade Guard. And I guess the Impulsor, even if you only get to go 1 turn with the Impulsor and just advance it 20 inches forward, and the Blade Guard have to get out from there, that's 2 or 3 turns of movement that they would normally need to get there. How do I feel about it? I'm undecided. I think it's good. But I need to run it in like 10 more games yet, and then give you a final verdict. What does the different colours helmets next to the members' names mean? The different colour helmets just means how long you've been a member. I think like you start with a red helmet, then you move to a blue helmet on month 2. I think it's a yellow helmet on month 3. I think it's the Death Company helmet on month 6. And I think you get the gold veteran helmet at a year or something like that. I'm pretty set on running 3 times Sanguinary Guard with a fist on each. Yeah, I mean, I could totally do that. Steel Rain, I mean, maybe I should try it in one of the games where we just run like... we just run 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard with 1 fist on each, which once I paint these models up, I'll be able to do. Because then that will give me, then I'll have enough to do that. And it would mean like dropping the Impulsor and dropping the Blade Guard veterans, and I guess I could get some... I could use the 100 points from the Impulsor to get some other nice things into the list. I don't know what I would get in at the moment. Maybe like Inceptors or something, because like I still think Inceptors are a pretty good unit. But yeah, so, or I mean, I could have a squad of Vanguard veterans as well. I guess elite slots might be a problem. So yeah, I haven't quite decided. What I do like is the fact that like, if I go back to the final of the GT I was at, and I guess what I mean by final was like, so it was me and one other player had 4-0, and I was playing him on the top table. I was playing him on table number 1. He was Grey Knights, and honestly, he did about 15 mortal wounds to me in that first turn, and I want to say like 10 of the mortal wounds were on my Blade Guard veterans. So the Blade Guard veterans, because I don't run a priest, the Blade Guard veterans were like pretty crippled after the first turn. And I mean, in 40k, if you get out of turn 1 and you don't lose a unit, I mean, you could be pretty happy with that. You're always going to take some losses, like most armies are going to be able to shoot something in turn 1. Most armies are going to be able to do something in turn 1. But I actually played a game in the previous tournament against Thousand Suns where I think the Thousand Sun player wiped my Blade Guard in turn 1. And the way I've always run the Blade Guard is pretty much, they are a unit that's going to go centerboard and score me Oath of Moment points. That's why I run them over Sanguinary Guard, because that 1 more wound and the access to Transhuman helps them survive and get to the middle of the board, right? So that's how I run my Blade Guard. And in both games against the Psychic armies, they did so much damage to the Blade Guard that just wasn't an option. I did win the game against the Thousand Suns, but I got pretty badly beat against the game in the Grey Knights. Arguably, the Thousand Suns did more damage to the Blade Guard. But anyway, I guess the point of running the Impulsor means that if they're going to spit out 10 mortal wounds, they're going to spit it out onto 10 mortal wounds onto an Impulsor, and then I'm going to unload my full strength Blade Guard veterans further forward, right? So like, that's how I feel about Blade Guard. And I guess you could run a priest with your Blade Guard, so maybe my whole point is mute, but yeah, I mean, that's just how I feel. I'm a dirty heretic, says Floor Sweeper Union. However, got my 5-year-old boy into Blood Angels, so really enjoy the channel. Okay, well, just please beep over every single time I swear. Floor Sweeper Union, because this channel is definitely not aimed at kids that are 5, but I mean, as long as you disclaimer that I do occasionally swear, that's cool. I mean, he'll learn yeah, I was gonna say, some of my concepts might be a little bit advanced, but that's fine. I mean, I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. Thank you for the support. I'm pretty sure all those 30 Sanguinary Guard lists is what they got the points cost raised in the first place. Yeah, I mean, I actually don't think 30 Sanguinary Guard is a competitive list, DTM, because I think it just makes you too one-dimensional. It's like, what's the Blood Angels player going to do? Well, he's just going to throw 30 Sanguinary Guard forward and charge. And if you've ever shot Sanguinary Guard with like anything decent, you'll know that they do just melt. Like Sanguinary Guard, they're just a Marine with one better on their armor save. Like they are not a survivable unit at all, in my opinion. That's why I really thought that last year Sanguinary Guard would come down in points, because in all my games, the Sanguinary Guard make a charge, they maybe kill like one thing, and then they just get shot off the table. And it doesn't matter how big your squad of Sanguinary Guard is, you know, a 6-man, an 8-man, it doesn't matter. They always just get shot off the table, regardless of the size of the squad, it seems like. So I was convinced last year that Sanguinary Guard were going to go down in points, because I was like, they just don't survive against anything, you know, they're just toughness 4, 2-up save, no invuln, which is probably their biggest problem, I guess. You know, against like enemy characters and stuff, like they just don't they just never survive ever, period, it feels like. But yeah, you're probably right. Do grand tournaments in the system WYSIWYG? Could you proxy them? New question, but I don't play competitive. I think, will there be an army list show tomorrow? Yes, there will be 2 scoots, but I'm gonna be changing the army list show for the foreseeable future, I guess, because now that I've got 2 kids, it doesn't make sense to try and do it when I was doing it on the Sunday afternoon. So it's probably going to go out in the Sunday evening for the foreseeable future. If no one watches it on the Sunday evening, I'll rethink the time it's going out at, but it's going to go out much later. Like it'll probably go out like 9 o'clock or something, as opposed to the previous time 4 o'clock. So it'll be like about 5 hours later. I mean, in some ways that might help people that tune in from the US, but it might be a pain for people that tune in from the UK. Yeah, I mean, I spoke to my wife about it, and I think that I mean, she just needs the help. We got 2 kids. I sort of have to do it after at least one of the children is asleep now. So for the foreseeable future, that we will have an army list show. I will update my channel description with that, of what time it's going to be at for the future. But yeah, I'm planning on doing it tomorrow for sure. It's probably also going to be a little bit shorter as well, just because the 2 kid situation. So previously it was about 2 hours a show. I'm going to try and cut it to like 90 minutes. So it might just mean one less list each week. But yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately it's my decision to change it, but like I'm kind of, for the moment, I don't really have a choice. So hopefully you guys still enjoy it, and yeah, it'll be every Sunday for the next few weeks anyway. We'll go about 9 o'clock, and then we'll see what happens. If people like it, then. If people don't watch it, maybe we'll try another time. You only have to blame yourself. Well, I mean, I was only running 1 squad of Sanguinary Guard back last year in chapter approved, so the fact that they put them up in points wise for me I was annoyed by it. But I mean, I think I was running double Vanguard veterans, so I mean they put Vanguard veterans up as well. Or actually, no, I wasn't running Vanguard veterans, was I? I was running Assault Centurions, which were kind of a fun pick, but not always overly competitive. I miss the Assault Centurions. I thought they were a fun unit to run. So yeah, I didn't contribute to the Sanguinary Guard getting nerfed in points, that's for sure. But I know plenty of others did, I guess. Make drop pods good again. Sorry, do grand tournaments in system WYSIWYG. To a certain degree, I guess. I would say that like 90% of your stuff needs to be WYSIWYG. Maybe you can get away with like one weapon not being the right weapon on a model, but like they do sort of expect it to be WYSIWYG, I would say. I mean, the GT I was just at, one guy was running Contemptor Dreadnoughts with the Volkite cannons, and like in reality, when you look at the Dreadnoughts, they were Dreadnoughts with assault cannons on them. I mean, I don't know if if nobody pulled, because I said to him, I was like, I like your Dreadnoughts, Volkites, and he was like, yeah. So like, I guess it depends on how strict they would be. I would assume some tournaments wouldn't allow that, but the tournament I was at maybe was a tiny little bit more casual, so they were like, that's okay. So I mean, I guess yeah, if you don't have the right model, I guess you got to let the tournament organizer know in advance and make sure you get it okayed. I would guess, because otherwise, if someone calls you out on it at the event and you're like, yeah, there's supposed to be this, and they're like, yeah, but it clearly isn't, I don't know how they would deal with that. Okay, well, I'm so far behind the chat. They survive when they can't single out us. Yeah, I mean, they can survive, I guess, but like, I guess that my point is that if the enemy ever gets like a good bead of fire onto a unit of Sanguinary Guard, they just melt. Like they don't survive against any sort of serious firepower. And I mean, maybe they shouldn't survive against any sort of serious firepower, but if they shouldn't, I'm not sure they should be 32 points per model, because for example, Vanguard veterans can survive against serious firepower because of their storm shields. You know, like I had Andrew like unload a squad of multi-meltas into the Vanguard veterans and we didn't lose a single model, and it's like, they are cheaper than Sanguinary Guard, right? Like significantly cheaper. So I'm trying to make a Mastodon work, or at least a little bit. What would you put in one, or how would you use one if you had to? I mean, I ran a super heavy tank quite a lot in 9th edition, not the Mastodon. I ran the Falchion, and I actually kind of like Blood Angels with a super heavy tank. If I had a Mastodon, I'd probably put like 2 Death Company Dreads inside it, a Death Company, a squad of like company veterans, and like some sort of character with Icon of the Angel, so that your Death Company Dreadnought and your Death Company Dreadnoughts plural and other characters coming out of the Mastodon can all reroll their charges, because making those charges is going to be super critical, right? I think a Mastodon with like, well, I say Death Company Dreadnought, it could be Ironclad Dreadnoughts, they're pretty dope as well, right? Ironclad Dreadnoughts can probably arguably outdamage a Death Company Dreadnought, so maybe even lean slightly more towards Ironclads over Death Company. But I mean, if you got Blood Angel specific stuff, Death Company Dreadnoughts. I mean, a Librarian Dreadnought I suppose could work out of a Mastodon too. But yeah, a good solid amount of firepower coming, I guess close combat effectiveness coming out of Mastodon is probably what you want to see, right? A squad of 10 Terminators. I would 100% take a character with Icon of the Angel, right? Does Icon of the Angel, I forget the wording on that, but I think that just means all Blood Angels units can reroll their charges, right? Within 6. I'm not convinced by Asteroid either. I feel sort of sad that he doesn't come with a Wiserator as well. I think Wiserator is super important for chaplains. It's kind of funny because, you know, the people that have been winning tournaments don't take Wiserator for chaplains. I guess the way to look at it, Island Phoenix, right, is I think there's 2 ways you play the chaplains now. You either play them where you build your army around the litanies, and if you build your army around the litanies, then 100% you want to take Wiserator. If you do not build your army around the litanies, you build the character to do something else, for example, and you see the litanies more as a bonus, then I guess Wiserator isn't as important. Oh, you've got Astaroth in the next army list show. Cool. Well, we'll do that tomorrow night, Steel Rain. Let me double check that you're on the list to do tomorrow night. I think you are. It's been so long since I looked at the list. Sorry that we're so far behind. Yeah, it is Steel Rain. So we got Steel, we got Matt Grounds, and we got a couple of other people there as well. So yeah, we'll do Steel Rain's list tomorrow night. And yeah, just be aware that this show will be going out quite a bit later than it normally would air, and I'm kind of have to do that for the next little while, I guess. Do you know what? Maybe it'll, maybe more people will enjoy it at that time. I don't know where I picked the time that the show went out for previously, but yeah, it's kind of out of my control to not change it, I guess. And oh, I should probably tell you about the fun game that I'm going to have on Monday night as well. Terminators are good. I mean, you could take 9 Terminators and a character that could... you could take a Chaplain with... What's the litany called again? That gives you the +2 to charges? I should know this. I know it. Oh, the litany that gives you take 2 Dreadnoughts, 9 Terminators, and another character that has the litany that gives you +2 to charge, along with Canticle of Hate. I'm sure it's called Canticle of Hate. Canticle of Hate, along with Icon of the Angel, and then all that stuff can get a 7-inch rerollable charge after the Mastodons moved forward in turn 1 and delivered them to sort of the middle of the board. That would be one way to run a Mastodon. Plus, I think that would be pretty scary, because if the enemy don't have enough firepower to open up the Mastodon, which I think some armies just won't have enough firepower to open it up. What I mean by open it up, I mean is destroy it so you can get all the models out of it. If the enemy don't have enough firepower to open up the Mastodon, that's actually gonna be kind of scary, right? Craig Ritchie says, even for Sanguinary Guard, only 2 axes in a box. I like running all axes just now. Yeah, Craig, I think you're 100% right. Axes are the best option for Sanguinary Guard right now. There's too many toughness 5 stuff, or even toughness 6 stuff in the meta, and now Custodes have just come out. They're all going to be toughness 5. Your AP against Custodes is going to be dick because of all their invulnerable saves, right? So axes, in my opinion, are by far the better choice on Sanguinary Guard right now. You don't get enough axes in the box, so I guess unless you're made of money, you're probably going to end up running some swords. But swords are okay. Swords aren't bad. Just if you've got the choice of doing axes, do axes, in my opinion. Orc vehicles, again, Orc vehicles are toughness 6. The Rucka trucks and the scrap jets and stuff, so axes are just going to be way more reliable at wounding them. And those orc things are really nasty in close combat. Actually, you kind of need to kill them in close combat, because if you don't kill them, they'll kill you back. Each buggy gets 4 strength 8 attacks, doing flat 2 damage on -2. So they are actually really good at killing Marines. All Blood Angels units within 6, yeah. Good evening, The End. Yeah, I'm doing well. Ironclad is toughness 8 also. Yeah, I mean, that's why the Ironclad and the Death Company Dreadnought are very similar, right? Because the Ironclad's 1 more toughness, but the Death Company Dreadnought gets 6 up Feel No Pain, and obviously for 1 CP that can be buffed to 5 up Feel No Pain. So I think when I did a video on Death Company Dreadnoughts against Ironclads in terms of survivability, there's almost nothing in it. I think actually the Death Company Dreadnought edged ahead in survivability, but I think in terms of raw damage output, you'll get more damage out your Ironclad, just because the Ironclad can, if it's equipped with 2 melee weapons, it gets to reroll its 1s, and it also has the core keyword, so there's other ways to get it to rerolls. I kind of hate how our Dreadnoughts don't have the core keyword. I think it's dumb. Thanks for being here tonight, guys. It's been a little while since we were able to just hang out. I used to do hobby hangouts every Saturday night. Hopefully this is the start. You know, this is us back. So hopefully I'll have a hangout every Saturday night from now on, usually around the same time. So if you're struggling to get any motivation to paint during the week, you know, come in, hang out Saturday night, bring a model, bring a beer if you want. I'm not drinking tonight after the state I was in on the last hangout, but yeah, bring a beer, bring a coffee, whatever tickles your fancy, and we'll do Blood Angels every Saturday night. The character is probably important. Martial Exemplar could do the Icon of Angel. The only problem with Martial Exemplar is it is core and characters only. Unity. Your name's not Unity. Sorry, I'm not reading that. Unilith. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Martial Exemplar is core and characters, whereas Icon of the Angel is all Blood Angels units. So if you end up taking those Death Company Dreadnoughts, the Martial Exemplar doesn't actually let you reroll because they're not core, right? Jack says, sorry if it's a silly question. I've been away from the game for a decade and was thinking of picking up Blood Angels to get back in. Should be looking to get many Primaris units. They can't take jump packs, right? It's not a silly question, Jack. Welcome back to the game. I was away for about a decade as well, to be honest. Primaris have some really strong units, but yeah, you're right, they can't take any jump packs. I think as it stands right now, there's two ways to play Blood Angels. You can kind of go all jump packs if you want, which means probably buying like mostly like the older ranged models, like Firstborn is what we call them, and you can do very well with that if you want to just go all Firstborn, jump pack heavy, etc. The other way you can take it, Jack, is you can start build what I like to call a balanced army, where you're going to take like some Firstborn, so you're still going to have like some Sanguinary Guards, some Vanguard Veterans with jump packs, maybe some Death Company. Shit, hold on while I just put paint on the wrong bit of the model. But you're going to take some heavy support, or doesn't necessarily need to be heavy support, fire support I guess is how I would call it. So you can bring some guys with guns to sort of balance out your army, so you're not going to have to go all gun-ho on the jump packs. And both ways have merits. Both ways are, in their own right, strong. Yunli, another new member tonight. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Yunli. Both ways are strong, but the one thing that I want to say is a lot of people will tell you that you have to go all jump packs. Thank you for subscribing, Torenzo. Appreciate it. Some people will tell you have to go all melee, you have to go all jump packs to be competitive. If we go back and look at all the tournament wins, so just people having won tournaments in 9th edition playing Blood Angels, not a single one of them was an all melee list. Every single list that won a tournament in 9th edition, and like when I say won a tournament, I'm talking like a 30-player tournament. Maybe you win a tournament with like 5 players with your friends. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about like grand tournaments, 30 plus players. Everyone that was being won by Blood Angels this edition has been won by people taking the balanced approach. Some people have taken like Eliminators with las cannons, which are Primaris units. Some people have taken Eradicators with multi-meltas, which again are Primaris units. A bunch of people have taken like the Primaris troop choices, which is what I'm painting right now in cursors. They're a good mix between a little bit of shooting, a little bit of forward deployment and close combat. So it's totally up to you what you run, obviously. I mean, it's your army, build what you want. But I think the way it is at the moment, Jack, is there's those two approaches. I hope that answers your question. I just realized my chat had not scrolled down and I'm answering a question from like 5 minutes ago. There's a lot of people in here tonight. 30 people. Well, it feels like more than 30, the amount of questions and comments on the chat. Maybe I'm too wordy in my responses. Let me try and catch up. Thinking of getting Trajosian or one Custode box of Terminators, not for certain. Yeah, I mean, I think Custodes will be a fun army to play. They're definitely a durable army, right? And I'm actually really pleased if their Codex sounds like it's going to be a strong, balanced Codex. I think I said that already, so. I mean, I think we saw that. I'm saying his name wrong, I think, but Trajosian, the Custodes character, he gets like 8 wounds, toughness 5 now, right? So like that alone is pretty nice. 8 wound character with 5 wounds, and he's probably got like a crazy invulnerable save because Custodes characters tend to have really good invulnerables, so it'll be at least a 4 up. It might even be a 3 up in Vun on toughness 5, 8 wounds. Can I run a Blood Angels Ironclad in a combat patrol? Yeah, absolutely. Blood Angels Ironclad. Ironclad is one of the dreadnoughts that I don't own, but I kind of fancy getting one. I think they're really good. I've done a few videos on Ironclads. You can run one for sure. Spiderwing doesn't drink, so he'll bring a Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Most of the time I don't drink on the stream either. I was only drinking last week because it was New Year, and I haven't drunk probably because of the pandemic. I haven't been to the pub since the pandemic started, so that's like like almost 2 years now at this point, because the pandemic started in like March 2019. Or was it? No, March 2020? I don't even know what year the pandemic started. It's been going on for so long, but it's coming on 2 years now, so I was just drinking a little bit last time because it was New Year and wanted to celebrate a little bit, even though it's still everybody's stuck at home and all that nonsense, I guess. But yeah, bring your Dr. Pepper, that's cool. No worries. No judgment. Single Sangori Guard squad just die. I'd rather bring Vanguard Vets if you only have room for one squad. Yeah, I mean that's maybe fair to say. Sangori Guard do just die if they're on their own. If they ever get exposed or whatever. Thank you for subscribing, Jared. So I put a lieutenant in the Mastodon and an Ironclad, and then the Ironclad will have reroll 1s and reroll 1s to wound. That sounds pretty good, but I'm looking at a bit of cheese list anyway. Yeah, I mean, reroll 1s to wound on something like an Ironclad is probably not really going to be needed because you're probably only going to get like 1 failed wound. So it might just be better to run like 2 Ironclads at that point if you're paying 100 points to just try and reroll like a single 1 or something, you know, because the Ironclad's going to be wounding pretty much anything on the game on 2s. I'd probably say it's going to wound everything in the game on 2s, unless it's toughness 9. I actually think even toughness 9 it's going to wound it on 2s because you're going to be strength. You're going to be like strength 12 with +1 to wound. So yeah, you're going to wound. You'd even wound toughness 10 on 2s. So re-rolling your 1s probably is kind of maybe a waste of points, maybe a little bit. Evening, Mega Miniatures. How are you doing? Does the existence of Death Company dreads means Athra sucks at his job? I don't know. I mean, someone probably needs to correct. Someone in here will know the lore. Is it a case of the Space Marine gets put in the Dreadnought and then he falls to the Black Rage, or does he fall to the Black Rage and then they put him in the Dreadnought? Like, which order does it happen in? I imagine it's a normal Dreadnought, and then the guy controlling the Dreadnought falls to the Black Rage, right? Like, I would assume that would be the order it happens in, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not the hugest lore guy. I care more about winning than the lore, I guess. I mean, I do read the lore. I am watching through the Angels of Death series on Warhammer Plus. I really need to get back to that and finish the video series I was doing on it. But yeah, I'm more of a I want to kill you on the tabletop than a lore guy, I guess. Would it be worth getting a combat patrol then and supplementing that with Sangori Guard, Death Company and Veterans and possibly a Whirlwind? I mean, if you're going to get a combat patrol, I'd probably say go after the Dark Angels combat patrol. I mean, I don't know what sort of saving you get actually from buying a combat patrol, but I like Redemptor Dreadnoughts a lot. I think people like Inceptors a lot. They are two very good fire support units that you can use for Blood Angels. They both are in the Dark Angels Combat Patrol box. So that's why some people think the Dark Angels Combat Patrol box is better than... I've got duplicate audio tracks. Wow, it took you... Thank you for pointing that out. At the end, my other microphone over here, I guess, was just picking up stuff. Captain, commander on a bike or a commander with a jetpack? I mean, I have mine on the bike. I've been running him now for about a year. I think the one on the bike does better than the one with the jetpack, but, I mean... I run mine as a chapter master, which is a little bit different from a captain, right? But I think, I mean, both are good. Don't get me wrong, like I have a bunch of models, captains, that are like with Thunderhammers and Storm Shields that I used to run in previous editions with jump packs. I still like them, but the playstyle I have at the moment with that balanced approach, the bike captain just makes more sense to me. But if you, I mean, if you're one of the guys that wants to run all melee and go hard on that, then one with a jump pack probably makes more sense to you. So there's a bit of personal preference in there, I think. Dreads can reroll ones anyway with a strat. Yeah, Dreads can reroll ones anyway with a strat. True, just not Death Company Dreadnoughts because they're not core. I guess that's why the Ironclad probably edges out the Death Company Dreadnought in terms of raw damage output. Which is sad because I own 2 Death Company Dreadnoughts and no Ironclads. I never thought we'd be in a situation where the generic Ironclad is better than our chapter specific Dread, but that's the situation we're in, I guess. I really hope that our rules get the time and care that they deserve next edition, because this edition I feel like they didn't. They will never install a Fallen Blood Angels into a Dreadnought, says Mark. Thank you, Mark. Good evening. How are you? Hope you're well. I guess that makes sense. Don't know if you guys caught our latest podcast episode. That went out last night. If you haven't caught it, I linked it over in the community channel of the Blood Angels Commander. And... I think we just hit 300 subscribers today on the podcast, so that was pretty cool. We are growing it, so if you haven't seen it or subscribed to it, or you want just like 2 hours of us chatting about Space Marine stuff, Blood Angel stuff, 40k stuff, every second week we do the podcast, you can subscribe. Just search YouTube for 3 Grots in a Box. The Dark Angels Combat Patrol is probably the best competitively, but if you're looking to save money, I'm recommending going with the Blood Angels one. Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to be competitive, then you want the Dark Angels Combat Patrol. I think that's correct. Adam says the Blood Angels Combat Patrol is pretty crap. The unit I run from it is the Incursors. Yeah, I mean, I guess... don't know if it's crap. I mean... I'm trying an Impulsor in my current list, which I guess you do get an Impulsor in there, but it does seem a little bit strange because you get aggressors, right, who are in Gravis armor, but aggressors can't go in Impulsors. And I own 6 aggressors and they're all fully painted. I painted them last edition when the aggressors were awesome, and like in 9th edition aggressors they're kind of shit, I guess. I mean, they were good in 8th. In 9th, they're kind of shit. So yeah, I think the Dark Angels Combat Patrol, if I was going to spend the money, I'd spend the money on the Dark Angels Combat Patrol. probably just try and sell the upgrade sprue you get for Dark Angels on eBay, or you probably get like $5 for it, so you can probably make $5 back and then buy some other Blood Angel specific stuff. People are always looking for... I've bought so many sprues off eBay since I came back to this hobby, because I honestly think Games Workshop are missing a beat by not selling some of the stuff that you need. Like, for example, we always talk in here about Sangre Guard and their axes. If they just sold a sprue with 5 Sangre Garden axes for $5, that would actually be relatively quite expensive, right? Like, if you think about buying 5 axes for $5 when they charge like $25 for the pack of 5 models with all the jump packs, that would actually be quite expensive. But when you compare it to the prices people are scalping on eBay, they're wanting like $3 for a single axe. Games Workshop could actually make a killing on that. So I don't know why they don't do it. Because yeah, I've bought a lot of stuff on like eBay or part resellers, and I've spent a lot more than, you know, like sometimes buying parts of the sprues on eBay can cost just as much as buying another box. It's just kind of ridiculous. I should have fixed the echo in the audio, sorry about that. Another problem with the Dark Angels Combat Patrol is that ever since I bought it, I've been stuck with the Dark Angels transfer sheet and upgrade sprue. I am convinced someone would buy that transfer sprue on eBay, dude. Honestly, because like Dark Angels are in the same position as Blood Angels. Like, you cannot, like, what box can you buy from GW like that actually contains a Blood Angels transfer sprue? Does the Combat Patrol actually contain one? Because I've also bought... Oh, that might be my daughter up. Hold on. I might have to move her to another room. If I do, I'm only be gone for like... Yeah, I'll be gone for like 2 minutes. Oh, the joys of kids. Good fun. Sorry. What do I put in my impulsor? 5 Blade Guard Veterans is what I'm trying. I've run it like 3 times now. I've won every game with it, but I mean, I win most of my games anyway, I guess. My win rate over this last year has actually been pretty darn good. I think I've lost like... Probably played like 50 games, because maybe more than 50. I play 1 game on stream every week, play sometimes like during holidays and stuff like that, play a few different tournaments, so probably played 60 games in 2021. I think I lost 4 times. I lost right when the new Art Codex came out. I lost 1 game in each of the 2 tournaments that came out, and then I think I lost once to Andrew's. I think it was his sisters, and he took like... Andrew likes to do these lists where he spams like tons of this. If Andrew thinks a unit is overpowered, he will spam the same unit, and I think he spammed like... What are those Sister Walker things called? I'm gonna have to Google it, hold on. Factions, sisters. They are called Penitent Engines, that was it. Penitent Engines and Mortifiers, right? Andrew ran like, I think he ran a list with like 50, he can't run 15 of the same unit, so he ran like 9 Penitent Engines and like 6 Mortifiers. So I think I lost against that. I lost against the new orcs when they first came out once, and then I lost one game in each of the tournaments I played in. And apart from that, I won every other game I played in 2021. It felt like. Do you know what? There was maybe right at the start of the year after Chapter Approved came out, I struggled actually. So maybe that's a lie. So, but once I figured that part out, like after the chapter approved came out and sort of nerfed all our points up, made us more expensive. Once I got past that, I started winning every game like week in, week out. It just took me a little while. Yeah, speaking of Andrew's running the same model that he thinks is strong, Andrew is running Chaos War Dogs. They're Chaos Knights. They're like you can run squads of 3 of them. And there's also a Forge World version of the War Dogs, so you can run. Well, basically, like, he sent me his list for Monday's night live game, and he's running 3 squads of 3 War Dogs, which is like 1,200 points, and then he's running 2 squads of 3 of the Forge World version of the War Dogs, which is like 800 points. So his list is basically 15. Like Chaos War Dogs. Do you know what? I can throw the profile for the War Dog on screen because I actually had no idea what they were. So on Monday night, I will be playing against Chaos War Dogs. This is what a War Dog looks like. Let me see if I can just move it ever so slightly so you can see it. It is a knight, 14-inch move, 3 up weapon skill, toughness 6, 7 wounds. Sorry, 7 tough strength 6, toughness 7, 12 wounds. Each War Dog is equipped with a heavy stubber, a thermal spear, which is basically an assault D3 meltagun, or kind of, I guess it's kind of like a 30-inch multi-melta, really. And a Reaper chain cleaver. So he's gonna have 15 of these. Well, he's gonna have 9 of these, and then he's gonna have 5 of the Forge World versions, which run these lightning locks, which are like a heavy 6, strength 6 -2, unmodified rolls of 6 score 2 additional hits. What does it say? Each War Dog is well, I guess he's taking lightning locks. So yeah, in true Andrew fashion, he's taken 15 of the same unit because he thinks it's strong and quote unquote overpowered. He really loves to do that, Andrew. So I guess we'll find out if I can handle 15 knights. There'll be a fun game. This is why you need chain fists on those contemptors. I mean, the contemptors will just stay out of range, right? Because the knights only have 30 inches. My contemptors are 45 inches. So I'll just make sure that like he can never target the contemptors, I guess. So I'll have that going for me, I guess. I'll have 5 turns of Volkite contemptors just spamming out damage, sort of unanswered, and then I'll just try and obscure everything else and whittle them down. Those new knights count for 5 models for OBSEC, which is interesting. So I guess like if all 3 knights are on the objective, that counts 15 point. That counts as 15 OBSEC models on the objective. I don't know. Andrew has a habit of going for these mad builds, and I have a habit of beating them. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the thing that usually hurts the Sanguinary Guard is -1 damage, and I mean, the knights don't have -1 damage, and they also only have an invulnerable save against range. So if I get into close combat with them, then they're gonna have no invulnerable save, and they'll have they don't have -1 damage, so the Sanguinary Guard can just rip them apart, right? So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, it's proper Andrew. It's a proper Andrew list. I mean, Andrew just got done having that list with like the 20-something orc buggies, right? So I guess like he's found something new. But yeah, no, playing against Andrew actually helps me a lot when I play in tournaments, because he makes the games difficult because he takes the most powerful stuff that he possibly can, right? It always feels like an accomplishment when you beat a list like that, because it's just like, oh my, when you see it on paper, you're just like, oh great, it's 15 knights, all with multi-meltas, all really good in melee, and all with counting as 5 obsec. Did they decide to change the obsec count as 5 models in the balanced update? I think so, DTM. I think that's what changed it. How does he afford all this? I mean, I think if it's your only hobby and you've got a decent job, I mean, I don't know what he spends on other stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's like his main hobby. Plus, he's had a bunch of knights for a while, so he probably didn't have to buy all of them. He probably only had to buy like half of them, maybe. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? He didn't go the 6 Dread Knight list, or does he not like silver by chance? Yeah, I mean, I think Grey Knights are actually like a really strong option right now. Maybe he just doesn't like Grey Knights, I guess. I mean, that could be a thing. Some people don't like psychic armies. Dread Knights are brutal. Yeah, I mean, I lost a tournament to Dread Knights. They're 2 sister walkers and always get the 2 mixed up. Yeah, the Penitent Engines and Mortifiers are good, man. I mean, I like them. I've fought both, and I think they're both pretty strong, right? Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of silver on this guy just to change up what I'm doing a tiny bit. You know, maybe I'll run the Calixtus Assassin then on Monday. You know, I was talking about it earlier and saying that I want to try a list with it in it. It's not like I'm going to need my Librarian, my Null Zone much, I would assume, against all those knights, so... A Calixtus Assassin it would be a pain for those knights, right? Because you can only hit it on 6s. And like, you can only make invulnerable saves against the Calixtus as well, so in combat anyway, you can only make so it'd be difficult for me to wound. I'd only wound on like 5s maybe, but like if I wound him, he doesn't get any save. And I could potentially tie a squad of knights up in combat. What's the rule on those Armiger knights? Can they fall back and shoot? Or I actually don't know what the rules are on the smaller knights. Chainfist Contemptors wreck Dread Knights. Yeah, I mean, anything that does fleet 3 damage or more would wreck Dread Knights. I mean, that's why I took those Chainfist Terminators in my GT list. But I actually like Chainfist Terminators. I think they're a good unit. I mean, they're a slow unit, yeah, but I think they're a strong unit. Maybe if I ever drop the Impulsor Steel Rain and move towards like 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard. Maybe I can do 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard on a squad of Chainfist Terminators, just so that you've got that like that 3 damage potential in there. I mean, or I suppose you could just do the good old Thunderhammer Terminators, and then you've got the 3 damage against everything rather than just 3 damage against vehicles. I mean, that'd be good too, right? Andrew should start an Astra Militarum list as a labour of love rather than meta chasing. That'd give him lots to purchase. He has Astra Militarum, you laugh, but I've battled his tanks I've battled them on the channel ages ago. He hasn't run them because they aren't super competitive. But if they ever make Astra Militarum competitive, don't worry, he's got like all the Forge World Astra Militarum tanks and everything. In the office that we play in, they're all just sitting on that shelf there, Highland Phoenix. He's got the big artillery one, I forget what it's called as well. It's like an ancient one. He's got like one that has like a ton of rockets on the back. It costs like 600 points, so he has got a bunch of those older Astra Militarum tanks as well. Have you heard about the rumour with a new Redemptor coming with a Melta? I have not. I had heard that there was a rumour about a Redemptor coming with like 2 close combat arms, but do you know what? Having a Melta might be more interesting, because the big weakness of the current Redemptor, right, is that the Melta can be the plasma can be swingy, I guess, right? Because you can roll 1 or 6 shots. I mean, I've definitely had it go both ways. I've needed a 6 and I've rolled a 1, or I've needed a 1 and I've rolled a 6. So, but I've also had some really good rolls in tournaments as well in Redemptor Dreadnought, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, I hadn't heard that the rumor was that the Dreadnought might have a melt on it. That sounds cool. Bring him 5-man Death Company with Thunderhammers. I mean, maybe this would be the game to bring the 10-man Death Company with Thunderhammers and just Forlorn Fury them with all your Chapter Master rerolls and the like. But the thing is, if I go ahead and bring that 10-man Death Company, guaranteed I won't end up going first, so it won't be that useful for me. Yeah, I need to buy the Chain Fist arm for the Contemptor and for it's a Siege Drill for the Leviathan. I have the Siege Claw for the Leviathan, but I don't have the drill. I still want to know what the tank in the thumbnail is. The tank in the thumbnail is my the tank in the thumbnail is my Falchion, which is the giant ass tank that I have in this box behind me. It's a Forge World tank that costs a lot. I think when I bought it was just under $200. I think it's more than $200 now. Hide them and then Wings of Fire them. I mean, I'll probably start some of my Sanguinary Guard and Deep Strike against that much, against those many knights, right? Like, I'll have to do some maths and work out like how much damage can a squad of Sanguinary Guard arriving from Deep Strike do against how much damage can a squad of Sanguinary Guard arriving from Deep Strike do against the War Dogs, I guess. That would be... I'll have to do that, I guess. But, I mean, it shouldn't be too bad, right? I don't know how I rate the War Dogs. I guess we'll see. We'll find out. But I generally think making a list with all the same units is a bad idea. Valrak had a video at the start of the year while the man gets shit for leaks. Yeah, I think Valrak must know somebody. Like, he must have an insider, because I've watched a couple of his videos about leaks this year, and he has had them, like, all on point. Like, he knew about the Black Templars box before it came out. I don't know if he knew about Space Marine 2, but he was banging on about it for a while, which kind of makes me feel like he knew about it. And he knew about some of the other, like, Primaris stuff as well. So yeah, I don't know who's given Valrak the information, but he's got somebody that's feeding him something. Because he's definitely had, he's definitely, like you said, he's been on point with the leaks. He's known what's coming before it's been coming. I proxied the siege drill on the Leviathan before, and I loved it. I think it's a flat 6 damage against vehicles, a siege drill on the Leviathan. So I mean, against knights, I guess it just absolutely wrecks them. I was thinking if Contemptors go up in points the way the rumor says, that I will actually go back to having a. I think I might go. So I was doing double Redemptor for a while, because I had my Librarian in there. My Librarian was doing Psychic Fortress, and that made the double Redemptor like really strong. I think I might go 1 Leviathan, 1 Redemptor. And there's a couple of reasons for that, and I guess one of the reasons would be that then I feel like I don't need the Librarian. I just have to make sure that the Redemptor is really well obscured, because in turn, like, he's just going to have no invulnerable save all game, which is fine, but yeah, I think I'd probably do that, and then I'd go back to having some attack bikes on my list, because I do actually like. I mean, it was you, Steel Rain, that said to it was you that said that you had success running. Oh, if it wasn't you, I think it was you. I think it was you that said you had success running Assault Intercessors as strategic reserves. And I've had so much success with strategic reserves Assault Intercessors. I actually love them. I've been using them in just about every game for like 3 months now, and I think it was after you said that you had seen some good results using them. So I think probably what I would do is keep running some of those, and then putting a squad of Assault Intercessors into Strategic Reserve costs like, well, they're like power level 5, so you can fit like another 4 power level in there, and 2 attack bikes is like, attack bikes are power level 2, right? So you can have like 5 Assault Intercessors and like 2 attack bikes in Strategic Reserve. And I like attack bikes in Strategic Reserve as well, just because it's like you can bring in a multi-melta just about anywhere on the board, you know? And you can make it half range, because you can bring it in within 6 of the edge, but also within 9 of the enemy. Or just over 9, you know, like you bring it in at the minimum distance, so it's within half range. So if you make any wounds, you're a minimum of 3 damage and a maximum of 9. And I've used attack bites with multi-meltas from Strategic Reserve to like assassinate characters and stuff like that. You know, because you get a lot of flexibility on where you can bring them in from the edge of the table. So if you can bring them in and make the character the nearest target, and obviously he's not protected by a squad, you can just assassinate like good characters with an attack bite for 60 points. I kind of like it. Valrak has some guy he calls Alfaris. That's funny. I guess that makes sense. DTM says, with no rerolls and axes, 1.77 damage per Sanguinary Guard, 2.77 if turn 3, +1 attack and +1 AP. Okay, so if you come in on turn 3 and it's a 5-man Sanguinary Guard, that should kill 1. That should kill 1 knight. I mean, it's probably a little bit less than I'd hoped, but yeah, I mean that's not bad point for point, I guess. No null zone, John. Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with null zone, I guess, is by taking null zone, you open yourself up to not being able to take Abhor the Witch against like Grey Knights and Thousand Suns, which I think against Grey Knights and Thousand Suns, it's like a guaranteed 15 VP. Because you have to kill them anyway, so you just get 15 VP. Just I don't know. We'll see. I've seen enough people move away from the librarian that like I haven't played a game yet without the librarian, because the librarian with the jump pack's been a staple in my list for like a year. But I was thinking about dropping him. I mean, I've made changes over this last year. You know, like I used to always run the Sanguinary Priest. I never run him now. So maybe the librarian's the same. He has to go the way of the dinosaur for a little while, and then maybe he'll be back. I do think Null Zone's strong. Just, it's one of those powers that like you can go through like a lot of games and not need it. Sure, when you need it, but yeah. I think I want to try my list without him. I'm either going to replace the librarian with a chaplain on a bike, Primaris chaplain on a bike probably, or Primaris chaplain on a bike, or Calixtus assassin. My assault intercessors are still in the box in the pile of shame. Went to wait for new secondaries before I changed my list majorly. What's my assault intercessor loadout? Exactly as they come. Just chainswords, man. And probably just because I like to spend my points on making my elites better. But here's the thing. The assault intercessors, if they come in from strategic reserve, there's two things you can do with them, right? You can retrieve Octaria's data or something, or score engage on all fronts. So you can double up on your secondaries with them, or you can bring them in and like a lot of people hold their backfield objective with something pretty weak, right? Like an example, like in one of the matchups I played against another Marine player, the backfield objective is held by like a squad of servitors, like 4 servitors or something. So you bring in your assault intercessors 9 inches away from them, you make the charge and you kill what's on the backfield objective, and sometimes that can be like that can give you like a 10 victory point swing, because at the start of their turn they don't hold as many objectives as they should hold because your assault intercessors wipe the enemy. And even if your assault intercessors maybe don't wipe the enemy, assault intercessors are OBSEC. So if you can make that 9-inch charge and get a bunch of the models onto the objective, if you don't kill as much as you need to kill, maybe you can still potentially OBSEC it away from them because of your because of the assault intercessors. And in an absolute pinch, assault intercessors can fight twice, right? It costs 2 CP, and I wouldn't do it often because I think it's very expensive. But again, if 2 CP is going to give you a 10 victory point swing because the enemy like now holds less and you control more or something, 2 CP to get a 10 victory point swing I guess that can be well worth it, right? So yeah, just assault intercessors just as they come, chainswords and bolt pistols, I guess. And yeah, I've had them win games for me. That's why having a fist in Sanguinary Guard is good if they've trouble with T7 or T8. Yeah, that's true. I'm working on mine too. I posted some pics in Discord on the correct page, I think, to check it out if you got time. I will, Spec Tiger. Yeah, I check out Discord when and where I find the time, I guess. What am I looking for? Shatty Bone. I'm waiting for chapter 22. Chapter approved 2022 before I figure out what to build next. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I've actually stopped painting my Contemptor Dreadnoughts and their Volkite cannons. Like, I guess I will finish them because they were pretty close to finished, but I've just put them at the side to just maybe focus a little bit more on these Sangre Garden in cursors. But yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of half-painted models. You wouldn't believe how much stuff I have that's half-painted, so... And it's usually half-painted because of that very reason. Like, I've got it half-painted, and then something says, like, oh, those aren't really that competitive anymore. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll just put it to the side. So, if points costs... Space Marine points costs need like a serious overhaul, and I guess like that's what I've kind of been saying in my last couple of videos. Like Ball Predators need an overhaul. 6 units that we looked at this week need an overhaul. If they could actually give them a good overhaul, then I would have a lot of half-painted stuff that could suddenly become battle ready very quickly to get out onto the board. I guess we'll see what's going to happen. I think we have to have low expectations because the last chapter approved was kind of a disappointment though, right, for Blood Angels. The number of the damage of the Sangre Guard swings massively if they're near your Warlord to 4 per guard. I mean, yeah, the Sangre Guard near the Warlord are awesome. Like, I really love them near the Warlord. And I think that's why they put them up in cost. Because, again, near the Warlord they're awesome, but your Warlord can only be in one place, so... yeah, I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with their... I thought they were fine at 30 points per model. I still think they're fine at 30 points per model. I still think they're overcosted at 32 points per model, but I mean, I'm not... I have no influence on what the points costs are, right? Is 3 Grots and a Vox ever going to come to Spotify? Yeah, I mean, we haven't figured out quite how we're going to be doing the podcast in the future, but I guess if you have YouTube Premium, you can listen to the podcast without anything visual, I guess. Like, you can lock your phone and listen to it. But yeah, no, at the moment we're just building it on YouTube. We have, like, I guess, just hit 300 subscribers today, which is pretty cool. And I guess we'll continue to build it for a little while, and then maybe we'll see about other platforms. But to begin with, we just need to build some sort of fan base, I guess. So that's where we are with the podcast. But yeah, I mean, if we can then move on to some sort of official podcasting platform, that would be nice as well. Just that, I guess, we're a long way away from that. We're novices. Yeah, well, 1, we're novices, and 2, we have no fans yet. I mean, 300 fans is nice, but in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of no fans, I guess. I still think I'll run Contemptors just with different weapons. The Chain Fist and the Invulnerable are too good. Yeah, I mean, what weapon then? Like Chain Fist multi-mela? I feel like multi-meltas are probably going to be the best. How much does a multi-melta on a Contemptor cost again? Or what's it going to cost in the leak? Happy New Year, Pedrog. How are you doing? Yeah, I mean, I seriously think if Contemptors go up that much in points, then I'll be running my Leviathans again. Because Contemptors can't be more points than a Leviathan. That's kind of silly in my opinion. Alright, I'm gonna paint for like 10 more minutes, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to go to bed because I will be up very early in the morning with a 1-week-old baby, so... This is why I felt like I haven't had enough... I haven't got enough painting done this holiday. But yeah, so Armyless show tomorrow, and then Monday night we will have the battle against Andrew, and yeah, I mean the battle against Andrew will be interesting because he's running 15 of the same knights. I feel like I can probably beat him because I usually do beat Andrew. But I think it's gonna be one of those games where it's like, yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games where it's kind of annoying to fight against just because, like, he's picked the most powerful unit he can find in the Codex and then just bought 15 of them. Which is fine, I guess, but also kind of annoying. You can't have many CP then, because he must have had to do, like... What are those knights? Surely they're elites, right? Oh, maybe he does have a bunch of CP. Maybe it's just one Vanguard attachment. David says, hey, what do you think of using the Emperor Champion model as a Judiciar with a kit bashed onto his free hand? I mean, I think that's totally valid. I think that would look cool. David, I guess the only problem would be if you're playing competitively, that Emperor's Champion sword is pretty tall, right? Like, is that going to make it difficult for you to hide him behind certain pieces of terrain? Because you don't want to give yourself as much as you want to make a cool model, you don't want to just be massively disadvantaging yourself, right? Hi John, glad to have tuned in for this live session. Missed the last few. Logging in here from Canada and update my YouTube name from a few weeks ago when you were struggling saying your name. So it's just me fastest. So it's now just Foss. Okay, Foss, thanks for updating your name. Yeah, I am terrible at names. If anyone in the stream is not aware of that by now, you should be. English and names and stuff like that, I'm just useless at that, so I appreciate you making your name easier for me to say. The day Contemptors become more expensive than Leviathan is the day I'll drink my contrast paint. Alright, everybody, someone take a screenshot of that for the Discord. Spiderwing says he will drink contrast paint. Do you know what? That would get a lot of views on YouTube. So let's get a screenshot of that and let's Spiderwing, I'm sure you own some sort of mobile telephone that can take a video. How many pots of contrast paint are we talking? Like one, or are we talking like all your contrast paint? Because I don't want to believe it, but I feel like I reckon that we're going to see really expensive Contemptors now. It makes me really sad because I think they're the one thing that's been keeping Space Marines like fairly competitive. Or maybe not the one thing that's been keeping Space Marines fairly competitive, but they've definitely been helping. So I'm going to be really sad if Contemptors are more expensive than Leviathans, but like, with how bad I think the last chapter proof points costs were, I can totally see it happening. You know, like, for example, in the last chapter of proof points costs, they changed the points for like all those new speeders, all the new gladiator tanks, the land raider, the repulsor, all these sort of things. And we still see none of them on the table, right? So it's just like they just totally missed the boat with the chapter approved 2020 costs. Or 2021 costs, so like I'm just not confident for the costs for this new year either, I guess. You know? Would that be fair to say? Hey, Baby Blood Angels Commander can paint too. Yeah, I mean it would be nice if it will be nice one day when I can paint with my son. Yeah, that'll be a very happy moment, especially after all the time we spent in hospital this month, where we didn't know if he was ever going to recover, if he was ever going to get home, or whatever was going to happen. You know, so I'm very much looking forward to that, Pedro. I feel very lucky about how good modern medicine is. Basically gave my son a fighting chance that I think like 20 years ago maybe he just flat out wouldn't have had that chance, because they did like, I guess, like keyhole surgery on his stomach like literally 24 hours after he was born, and I don't know I don't know what year keyhole surgery became something that you could just do. But yeah, I feel very lucky. Don't need a ton of CP1 wasting it on transhuman. You really hate transhuman. I like transhuman. Saves me a lot of one pot of contrast paint. It isn't cheap. Yeah, that's true. It is like $5 a pot, right? I wonder if you did eat a pot of contrast paint, like I wonder what color your like if you ate Blood Angels red, I wonder what color your shit would be next week. Would you get good definition on your shit? Alright, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit more paint on this guy and then I'll call it a night. This channel has gotten some Space Marines more competitive. Yeah, heavy plasma cannons are D3 when overcharged, aren't they? They are, but I think they're only D3 shots DTM, which is kind of sad, I guess. I wouldn't be sad. Yeah, do you know what? That's just the thing. If Contemptors did get an 80-point nerf that the leak says they're getting, I would be okay with that nerf if it means that they actually spent a lot of time and fixed a bunch of these other things. The things that I made mention in the video this week, the things that I've been speaking about for a while, you know, like all these things that are literally sitting on a cupboard, never getting played. If they looked at all those other units and actually tried to bring them competitive, but realized like there's just too many Contemptors, let's fire them up in points, I would be totally okay with that. But I think probably what's going to happen is Contemptors will get fired up in points, and a bunch of the other stuff that was already worthless, like Land Raiders, you know, like the stuff, the Gladiators and stuff that I already mentioned, got points cost last year, changed last year, and still, like, we've seen a 0% increase in Land Raiders because, like, still nobody runs them, you know? So like if they'd done that in tandem with Contemptors getting like a heavy nerf, I'd be okay with it, but I'm scared. I feel like it's just going to be Contemptors up 80 points, no changes for everything else. I mean, someone can screenshot that or someone can record that as well, and you can say that that's my prediction, and I really don't want it to be right, but like I feel like there's a good chance it will be. Heavy plasmas are damage 3 on overcharge, but yes, D3 shots. Chain fist or no fist on my Contemptors half. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the siege drill on the Leviathan is infinitely better than the claw, and I think that's kind of where the Contemptors are. The drill is just so much better than the sorry, the chain fist is just so much better than the regular fist, and they're the same points, right? GW did more to individual models than just alter points. Yeah, I mean, that's what codexes are for, I guess, but yeah, I guess we've kind of already had our codex this edition. I think it just honestly came out too early in the edition. I think that's what was wrong with our codex. I think if our codex was going to come out next, like, it would be absolutely fine, probably. I think I'm going to try and paint his face white, but start giving him the space of like yellow, then bring it up to white. I'm recovering heroin addict, so I don't think some contrast paints would do much, to be honest. Well, good on you for being a recovering addict. I bet that can't have been easy. But yeah, I don't know. Disclaimer, I don't think anyone should actually drink contrast paint. This was all Spider-Mind's idea. Spider-Wing, sorry. So no one else, I'm not for anyone drinking contrast paint. Congratulations, Nucking, that's great, man. I hope, well done for you. Yeah, there is a lot of rumors about Space Marines 2.0, isn't there? And I mean, I've talked about that a little bit in that we got that like Vanguard box halfway through 8th. So I thought we might see some sort of like Vanguard jump pack middle of the edition Space Marine release. Maybe that's where this new Redemptor the rumors are coming from. But who knows? I mean, it's like you said earlier. I think Valrak seems to know the rumors. So I mean, I guess keep an eye out on Valrak. He does like videos every day. The guy's a machine. So. I'm going to call it in just a minute, guys. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow night for an Armulus show. A bit later than normal. I'll try and set up the stream like an hour or two before so you get a bit of notification. But I think it's like midnight here now. So say like 21 hours from now is when I'm going to aim for the stream. But it might be plus or minus like half an hour depending on my children. But yeah, I definitely want to have the Armulus show back. And I think, well, we're aiming for tomorrow to bring it back. But it'll just be at a slightly different time than it was previously. And hopefully it's a time that's better for a bunch of you guys. And it'll just have to be at that time for the foreseeable future. Okay. Black Templar Rand Raiders, the 5-up invulnerable can work. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the biggest problems with Space Marine stuff is, right? Like, something can be really good for one faction, but poor for the other, because it's in the Space Marine Codex, it's got specific points cost. The only way I think they can balance that is if they go... If they give certain models points cost specific to how good they are for their chapter. But who knows if they'll ever do that. You think Land Raiders need something other than an invulnerable save? I mean, it would certainly help. I join, it looks like you're painting the Xenomorph. This is the Calixtus Assassin. But I mean, I guess he does look a little bit xenomorphy. I'm not doing the best job of painting him. He's pretty delicate to do. That's one of the reasons I like Marines, is they're kind of chunkier. Nice use of brown on the Assassin. Oh, thank you. I don't know how this guy should look, really. So I just thought maybe... We'll see. I just didn't want him to be completely black. I actually don't know how I'm going to break up the big black sections. Maybe I shouldn't have sprayed him black and like painted him like contrast black. But yeah, we'll figure it out. Make their tracks a weapon. Yeah, do you know what? Land Raiders with crushing tracks, like user strength -2 and a D3 might actually be kind of okay. You don't. I don't think you need to give them a weapon skill of 3 up, but if you gave them like actually decent tracks, because maybe a 5-up weapon skill that doesn't degrade or something. Land Raiders with Duty Eternal would be nice. Land Raiders with Duty Eternal might bring them. That might make them too competitive. Young says, I'm working on my first ever army. Are Blood Angels easy to paint? I don't think they're particularly difficult. I'm an average painter, and I think that I do a pretty good job with Blood Angels, so I think you can probably do Blood Angels with like 6 or 7 colors. You don't need millions of colors to do them as well, which is pretty nice. So, grey, blue, or purple. I wish I'd dry brushed it now that you see it, say that, Steel Rain. I wish I'd just dry brushed it. I could have like dry brushed it like very light grey or something. I suppose we still could. And then just touch up other colours afterwards. Yeah, we'll think about it for next stream. Maybe what colour did you dry brush it? But anyway, yeah, thank you to all the new members tonight. There was a bunch of new members, really appreciate them. And also thank you to the existing members. You guys rock as always. Thanks for watching this week's video. I'll be back tomorrow night for the Armulus show. I'll be back on Monday night with a live battle against 50 knights. Seems very strange to say that. You're not an average painter, you're just not an insane painter. That's kind of you to say, Marcus. Alright, slightly above average then. Above average in terms of quality, probably below average in terms of how long it takes me. So, because of those, that average is out at 100% average. Eshin Grey, I actually have Eshin Grey somewhere in front of me probably. It's the dark blue or grey. Yeah, haven't used it much, but yeah, okay, cool. Appreciate the feedback. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks again for the support. By the blood are we made strong. Peace.